Tonight, as Republicans race to pass Donald Trump's agenda, the more Americans look under the hood, the more they're pumping the brakes. Plus, who do you trust more? The politician under threat by MAGA's wrath, or the politician with no seat to lose?
This bill will betray the very promise that Donald J. Trump made.
Also, DOGE may be in the rear view, but the domino effects of its chainsaw are having life and death consequences. And
I don't think that we should have billionaires.
is it credible for the socialists to be blasting the system that helped build him? Live at the table, Bakari Sellers, Joe Borelli, Neera Tanden, and Pete Seat. Americans with different perspectives aren't talking to each other, but here they do. Good evening, I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Let's get right to what America's talking about. Donald Trump's big bill is getting bigger, and there is a race to pass it despite opposition from many Republicans. Negotiations are underway right now on changes to the domestic spending bill, which, if passed, would go back to the House. So here's a cheat sheet of what is currently in it. It's nearly 1,000 pages long, and it would add $3 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. The bill extends the Trump tax cuts. It makes massive cuts, though, to Medicaid, food benefits, and other social programs. And it also introduces new work requirements to those programs, and it includes, as well, a child tax credit and tax exemptions on tips, overtime, and car loans up to a certain limit. It rolls back tax credits on clean energy, including solar and wind subsidies, and it adds billions to border and defense spending. Now, we're told that the president is right now making calls to persuade skeptics and threatening those who oppose it. But in the meantime, Elon Musk is calling this bill insane and threatening to unseat any Republican who votes for it, if it is, quote, the last thing I do on this earth. We'll debate all of this in just a moment at the table, but first let's go live to Capitol Hill, where Lauren Fox is there with a fast-moving update on what is happening. So where do things stand right now?
Yeah, I mean, they have been going now for more than 12 hours in what is known here as a marathon voting session, a Voterama on Capitol Hill, and yet they are nowhere close to a final vote. Multiple senators saying that it's really anyone's guess right now how much longer this goes. We know they have at least 10 more amendment votes scheduled. It's not clear how long each of those votes is going to take, but Democrats have been arguing that Republicans are trying to slow walk this process because behind the scenes they are still grappling to try to secure the votes they need to get this out of the Senate and back over to the House of Representatives, where that's going to be an entirely new fight over in that chamber. So right now, where things stand are, it's not clear who's willing to vote for this bill. All eyes are on people like Senator Lisa Murkowski, Senator Susan Collins, both Republicans who have expressed concerns about some of the deep Medicaid cuts in this bill. There's also questions on whether or not some of these conservative members who want deeper cuts to programs like Medicaid, what they're going to do. I just ran into Senator Rick Scott, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Mike Lee. They appear to be headed somewhere to huddle. They have been working on their own amendment that would make even steeper cuts to the Medicaid program. It really is sort of a live action play right now on the Senate floor, because it's not clear exactly which amendments are going to pass. So far, none of them have, but how they ultimately change the scope of this bill and how they change the vote count at the end of the day. Abby?
Lauren Fox, thank you very much, and keep us updated on how this is going all through the night. And I wish you some rest tonight, because it's going to be a long night for the folks on Capitol Hill. Joining us at the table in a fifth seat is the economics expert, Michael Purves. He is the chief market strategist at Towel-Backen Capital Advisors. Michael, I want to play for you what Tom Tillis, who we've been talking a lot about lately, because he's been the most vocal on some of this stuff that's in the bill, what he said on the Senate floor about what he has studied in this bill and what he thinks is really in it. Listen.
Now, Republicans are about to make a mistake on health care and betraying a promise. It is inescapable that this bill in its current form will betray the very promise that Donald J. Trump made in the Oval Office.
And that promise is that this bill would not cut Medicaid.
Right.
And it does.
It does. There's also another broken promise implicit in this, which is this quest for fiscal discipline, right? That was also something that came out of the campaign last year. And what I think we're seeing here is that there's really not any fiscal discipline inherent in this. You can look through the CBO scoring there. As you were saying, there's well over $2 trillion in incremental deficit here, right? People can push back on the CBO, but if you actually go back to 2016, just before Trump was elected the first time, you looked at how they scored the future, right? What their estimates were, and then what actually happened. Well, you look at 2019, for example, revenues went down after that tax bill was put in. Expenses were more or less the same, except for interest expense went up a bit. There's a little bit of an increase in discretionary spending. So this concept of an economic multiplier here, sort of hidden magic that's going to be driving fiscal discipline out of this, I don't see it there. And I think the bond market is effectively agreeing with that.
And Pete, I mean, I've asked at this table many times, why is it that rather than acknowledging what is actually happening in this bill, Republicans keep saying that it won't cut Medicaid when that is exactly what the bill is doing, and it's going to affect people, including many of their constituents?
Well, they're calling for necessary reforms like work requirements. And I may have been young when this happened, but I remember Bill Clinton loved work requirements for welfare reform, and Democrats were in lockstep with him then. But now that Donald Trump wants work requirements, which is a bit of a misnomer because it would also be you could go to school, you could volunteer for 20 hours a week, and that would make you eligible, ensuring those who need to have Medicare get Medicare. And looking at waste, fraud, and abuse. I know it's just this phrase that people throw out there, but by the most conservative estimate, 5% of Medicaid spending is waste, fraud, and abuse. Do the math over 10 years, that's $303 billion with a B, which is more than 30% of the cut that they're looking at right now.
Okay.
Why is that a bad thing?
So
Why is it a bad
let's
thing?
take that. There's a whole 70% that's not accounted for in that. And I mean, the other part is that it's clearly not just because Senator Tillis, again, he looked at the bill and he's for work requirements, but that's all that's in here. That's not where all the money is.
He only got his courage potion after he decided to not run for re-election.
I have to say, I have to correct multiple things that were just wrong in what you said. Number one, Bill Clinton specifically opposed work requirements for Medicaid and health care.
Correct.
He supported for welfare. He vetoed a bill that had work requirements in Medicaid.
Correct.
So just get your facts straight right there. You cannot hang this monstrosity on any Democrat. And second of all, in every state that has used work requirements, 40% of people have lost their health care. That's children have lost their health care, parents have lost their health care. It is outrageous to say that no one will lose their health care when you know Republicans like Tillis are saying that. And the fact is that we can all talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, but like you're talking about in this third, fourth, fifth year of this, it's going to be 20% of the Medicaid program, $1 out of $5 in Medicaid. And that is why, again, it's not liberals who are talking about it. It's the Louisiana Hospital Association.
Yes.
It's the Iowa Hospital Association. It's the Maine Hospital Association. It's doctors. It's nurses.
Well, they're
it's
primarily
people
upset
in
about the
healthcare.
provider tax portion of it.
No,
the
they're
provider
upset
tax
about
portion of this,
both.
which is a
I'm
way
sorry.
for blue
They're
states to
upset
pad
about both
their
of it
Medicaid
because they
enrollment in
know
order
Medicaid
to
dollars.
double federal
I'm
dollars.
sorry, Medicaid dollars pay for nursing homes.
Particularly-
Medicaid dollars pay for hospitals, children's hospitals,
particularly,
the entire healthcare
particularly
system.
in rural areas.
100%.
Particularly in rural areas, which is somewhere along the line we oftentimes miss that boat. What I was going to push back is that Pete didn't necessarily answer your question about just the sheer numbers of people that are going to be kicked off the rolls. I mean, you're talking about 663,000 North Carolinians. I'm looking at Nancy Mace and Ralph Norman, who called himself running for governor of South Carolina, but the hundreds of thousands of people in South Carolina that are going to be kicked off the rolls. But even more, this is what happens with policy in Washington, D.C., particularly when Republicans try to legislate, and we know they can't. They don't look downfield. So what happens now? You have rural hospitals which are already under attack, which are going to close. You have those economies around those hospitals which are going to be decimated. You're talking about jobs because in a lot of these areas, these rural hospitals, medical providers, they are your largest employers. And so by taking this axe to Medicaid, You are fundamentally making a more unhealthy country. You're making sure women and children don't have access to the health care they need, and you're also decimating the economy. And I'm not sure people fully understand or grasp that.
Other than Tom Tillis.
I mean, we haven't even talked about the tax implications here, which virtually every analysis shows largely benefits people who are making a lot of money, the wealthy, the top 5%, the top 1%. I was just looking at an analysis that said that the tariff policies are offset most of the tax benefits that the lower portion of the American population would get. So you're increasing tariffs on people and then giving them a little tax break. Meanwhile, the rich are getting a lot of tax benefits. That is going to be unpopular. I mean, already the polling is showing a pretty clear story. Pew, Kaiser Family Foundation, Quinnipiac, Washington Post, Fox, all showing this bill underwater. And, you know, people like Elon Musk are like, I'm just going to primary these people.
Abby, if you're in the audience and thinking this sounds familiar, and you watch CNN as often as I do, it does sound familiar because this is exactly the same thing that many people, including the CBO, were talking about in 2017 with the first Tax Cut and Jobs Act. Right? They were saying that the CBO is going to score this bill, it's going to add to the deficit. CBO basically, we know later on, underestimated growth by 1%. They underestimated $200 billion.
But that's largely the effect of the pandemic.
He talked about the 2016 score, the 2017 score. You actually quoted it. You said in 2017 there's no reason to believe that it would significantly increase either growth or tax revenue. And you were wrong. The CBO.
I mean, Michael just
we're talking
about
in 2019, GDP came in at about 2.6%. That was right in the middle of the range. You did have above trend growth.
That's why I said an average of $200 billion per year, which is factually accurate.
Right.
In FY 2022, it was underestimated by $800 billion a year. So the CBO has a history of being wrong.
Right?
It does.
That's not right.
You also said, by the way, in 2017, let me finish. You also said in 2017, this is going to be a huge tax cut for the wealthy billionaires and paid for by the middle class. The poverty rate fell to the lowest rate in 50 years. The average family making under $100,000 got a 16% tax cut. And ironically, the top 1% of America, the richest.
I'm gonna just say, can I time out for 1 second?
I got to respond.
No, but
Bakari, let me let
his
Neera
talking
respond.
points are amazing. He's like rolling them
I know.
off.
Here's the thing.
I
am so sorry that you can't get back the hour you Googled on this quote. That has nothing to do with this.
It was car sick on the way here. I told you already.
Yeah, well, clearly you were car sick. So here's the difference. The TCJA, the President's Trump's Jobs Act, it was a tax cut bill. You know what it didn't do? It didn't slash health care for millions of working class people. It did not basically end food subsidies for working class people. Just to say what this bill does, according to like thousands of experts, not just random quotes, the average increase in costs for working families, the bottom 40% of people and the 40% of income in the United States, is they get stuck with $560 more on average.
The question,
and for
Abby,
wealthy people,
was about taxes.
it's $6,000. No, here's the thing. What
I gave you don't get to. You know how I know you're wrong? I know you're wrong because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
They both wanted to extend the tax
No,
cut.
they didn't. They didn't want to extend the tax cuts for wealthy people.
Kamala Harris said she was not going to end the tax cuts for 99% of Americans.
You cannot disentangle the impact of cuts to Medicaid and cuts to food assistance from the overall economic impact of this.
You asked me about the tax rate.
I know, but what I'm saying to you is...
I answered your question.
No, but you're
what
using
I'm saying to you is that you cannot disentangle those
about
things.
The tax revenue.
What is the bill? The question is, what is the bill going to do in terms of financial benefit to the poorest people versus the richest people? And virtually every analysis that takes the bill as it is says the combination of small tax cuts and big Medicaid cuts and big food cuts means that poor people get much less benefit from this bill than rich people. That I don't think even Republicans are disputing that. They're just saying that if you give rich people a tax cut,
they're facing a lot of this on the
everything.
CBO, which is not infallible. And I want to go back to the polling real quick.
It's the Yale Budget Lab. It's us and everyone who's
We were talking about how polling is underwater. Well, where I thought you were going with your comment earlier is the polling was underwater for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act as well. This is the era of Donald Trump, where all the negativity, all the deranged predictions from Democrats do scare people. And when you hear, I've literally heard Democrats say that this bill will rip food out of the mouths of children.
It will.
How absurd! How absurd!
Okay, let me explain to you.
Think
Let
that.
me explain how it will, okay? Because I think
Probably
it's
said it in
just-
2017.
That
Hold on,
someone
Joe.
will go
Oh my
and
God.
rip
All
it
right,
out
I'm
of
so
their
sorry.
mouth.
Neera, go ahead and finish
Okay.
your thought. 'Cause
Just here's what happens. They are cutting food benefits, the SNAP program. They are basically cutting this by tens of billions of dollars. And that means that when a family goes to get food benefits, struggling family, they will not be able to get those food benefits. So you have to live with the consequences of hungrier children in America. And I think what many Americans are asking and why this is so unpopular is when Donald Trump said to Americans, I am the champion of working class people. And let me just quote Josh Hawley here, who said himself, this bill hurts working class people by taking away health care and access to food. And I think the greatest irony and the reason that's driving these people hate this bill is because they did not think they were voting for Donald Trump so that they would pay the cost of tax cuts for the richest Americans.
quick last word, Michael, before we
Well, I think there's a tax for everyone on this if interest rates do go up, because this is a loose fiscal package here. That hurts rich people, that hurts poor people, that hurts people in the middle. So I think that's something to really keep in mind. It's important to realize back in 2019, the 10-year interest rate, the 30-year mortgage were half of where they were now. If those go up by another 100 basis points, it's going to create a lot of spillover problems throughout the economy and for the government.
No, there's no free lunch, okay? You raise the deficit by almost $3 trillion, $4 trillion. Somebody's going to pay for it eventually, which is what Republicans historically have said. But here we are. Michael Purves, thank you very much for joining us. Coming up next, a Republican who stood up against the bill gets attacked by Trump and then announces that he will not seek re-election. So who are voters supposed to trust here? Plus, former Presidents Obama and Bush are speaking out tonight in a rare rebuke of Trump, calling his USAID cuts a colossal mistake. This, as a new report says, that they've already had life and death consequences around the world.